Hi there everyone, my name's Alex Morgan. I'm a shaman, a healer, a gene keys nut, a human design freak and an Enneagram aficionado. I love these three systems and been using them for a long time. I began with the Enneagram in fact, and I loved how it unlocked my personality and allowed me to connect to my true self. I think that's the real gift of the Enneagram. It doesn't say we are the personality, it says we are not the personality, and if we use the Enneagram, we can unlock the prison of the conditioned mind or the personality, and we can connect to our true essence, our true self, and kind of like mold the personality into a reflection of who we really are. That is the beauty of it. And ever since I came across human design and gene keys, I was wondering, like, seeing as these systems are synthesis or a meta system of the Kabbalah, the I-ching, astrology. At the time I was using the Enneagram and I was wondering, where does this fit into it? Does it fit into it? And if it does, like how? One of the first things I noticed was that human design shows the differentiated mind. You know, the true self or the individuated self, the authentic blueprint for who we are. And Enneagram shows the conditioned mind, or what human design might call the not self, especially in its dysfunctional characteristics of the 9 types. And so for me, from the Enneagram to the human design personality, that's a journey. There's a journey there. And I was like, well, I love the Enneagram. I feel like I'm here to teach the Enneagram. And I love these other systems. And like, can I combine it? Can I show the journey from our conditioned mind of the Enneagram to our authentic blueprint in human design using the gene keys as the basis, as the foundation, the language of the gene keys, because that's why I'm a big fan of Richard Rudd and his language, his poetry, his mysticism. And as a shaman, I'm heavily focused on shadow, on understanding the dark, healing, and so that's the unique perspective I look at. With Ra, you know, he was a bit of a sage in my eyes. With Richard Rudd, he's a mystic, and I'm a shaman. And so hopefully I'm going to offer a different perspective from these guys, but something that's complementary and that can fit into these systems. You know, I see, you know, Richard as the light or the lighthouse. You know, he's guiding the way forward, maybe the North Star even. And Ra gave us our vehicle. He gave us our human design. This is our vehicle. And, you know, with myself and the shadow keys, I hope to be the path. Like, I want to be the path. And I want to give us like real easy, step-by-step, baby steps sometimes, instructions on how to move forward. We're going to do it in our own way, but there's going to be some guidance along the path. And the shadow keys, if you think of it like gene keys is the city, the gift, and the shadow frequencies. The shadow keys exist in the shadow and below. This is where they exist. There might be a little gift vibe, but it's mostly that kind of shadow area that I'm going to shine more light onto and give us more tools, more angles, more perspectives so that we can actually really work with our shadows. Richard Rudd's approach that he recommends with gene keys is spend, I think it's 70 or 80% of the time focusing on gifts and cities, and we haven't to worry too much about the shadow. Those things will write themselves if we really focus on understand and contemplate and unlock the gifts and cities within us. And that's a great approach for the adept and people learning the gene keys way. I think can be more challenging for some. If they've got more of a practical mind than a contemplative mind, and 2, they are more in shadow, like the life is more shadow, and so they've got more dysfunctional patterns and they need practical tools now to start waking up out of these patterns, and contemplation might be too slow a process for them So the shadow keys aims to be a bit more efficient. What we're going to do is spend 80% of the time on the shadow, really understanding it, immersing ourselves, becoming fully aware of the shadow, not afraid of it, and coming into acceptance of it. And the analogy I like to use here is being in a completely pitch black room. When you're in a pitch black room and there's one source of light, that source of light becomes very clear. And I'm imagining like the keyhole of a door and that light coming through. You can think of that as the gift, or in the Shadow Keys language, the light. And so what we're going to focus on is that, but through this immersion in the dark. Our eyes are going to adjust to the dark. We're going to start seeing much more clearly our shadows by having some more angles and perspectives, and including Jungian Archetypes, or my own version of Jungian Archetypes that are going to be infused here, and a few other little tricks from human design and gene keys. And it's all going to be merged here in a kind of synthesis once it's all laid out, when the whole framework's laid out. But I'm going to spend each week slowly adding to this system based on the 64 hexagrams of the I-ching as we move astrologically through each hexagram. And so today, in the spirit of commitment, which we moved into today from the shadow of half-heartedness, I am committing to be on this project for a full year so that I can get the basis, the 64 shadow keys out there every week or so, and for you all to look at and contemplate and think about and share and hopefully build a little community around that. And then I'll be releasing more tools, more practical ways to approach the shadow keys, but hopefully in the material and the content I produce, they will have plenty of tips, guidance and inspiration to really examine your shadows and hopefully bring some epiphanies and breakthroughs there, But that's all for now, and so stick around if you want to learn more about your shadows. Much love.